So after watching Simon the Magpie's video titled, "You Don't Need Expensive Gear to Make Music," I decided to sell all of my gear and just keep this cat synthesizer. It has drums, presets, and even a microphone. What more do you need? Today we're going to talk about minimalism. Not the movement which characterizes music by the repetition of short phrases or simplicity. I'm referring to the minimalist lifestyle, which focuses on letting go of the unnecessary and living a life with just the essentials. I'm not here to lecture you on the benefits of being a minimalist or try to persuade you into selling all your gear, shaving your head, and moving to the woods, but there's certain principles I wanted to take from this way of life and implement them into the way I make music and what I make music with. Over the last few years, my studio grew from a cheap MIDI controller and Logic to thousands of dollars worth of music equipment. This was way before I made any YouTube reviews or had any beneficial relationships with companies that would justify, if one can call it that, a room full of gear. It was during the time I discovered hardware for the first time and went 100% Dallas. If you haven't seen my video, How Dallas Am I?, I'll put the link somewhere up here. I started off with Volcas and other cheap gear, and then I bought my first polyphonic synthesizer, the Minilog. Spending $400 on an instrument was uncharted territory for me at the time, but it brought me happiness, so I didn't mind making sacrifices in other areas to feed my addiction, hobby. During that time, I started to notice other people making really cool music with more expensive gear. This greatly had to do with the amount of time I was spending on social media, which was a lot. I quickly lost interest in my Volcas and Minilog and started chasing after other gear, but that just became a never-ending cycle of buying, selling, trading, and I never really learned my instrument to the fullest. At the end, it left me feeling uninspired and underwhelmed. The same feelings that brought me to use hardware were slowly pulling me away from it. I'm sure I'm not the only one that's considered giving up on music altogether when things just don't go right no matter what you do, but as a creative person, I know this isn't an option. I decided to downsize my studio drastically. No, this doesn't mean I'm just gonna keep my Volcas and pocket operators and make music with that. I decided to keep just the bare minimum for my situation. Yours might be different. I used to have 3 Eurorack cases. Now I just downsized to 1. Eurorack can be a rabbit hole, and it's very difficult to downsize after you have so many cases, but I did it and I'm proud of myself. I just have 1 case, and if I want something, something has to come out, but I'm pretty happy with the setup. Having less distractions has allowed me to reprioritize my time, allowing me to work on a lot of new music and sound and sample packs, which will all be available on my Patreon soon. By becoming my patron, you get full access to the new blog, downloads to all of my music, behind the scenes footage, and content I don't post anywhere else, so definitely check that out if it's something you might be interested in. If you can't afford to be a patron, that's okay, I still appreciate you being a subscriber. So what's happened since I made this drastic decision to sell most of my gear? Do I stay up at night wishing that I haven't done this, questioning my choices? What did I do? At first I was a bit reluctant of letting go of certain what-if items, but my determination to bring minimalism into my studio and my life wasn't going to be taken lightly. I knew what had to be done, and I was determined to make it happen. As I walked into a half-empty room the next day, I felt an unexplainable relief, as if letting go of these material things opened a door of possibilities to what I could create with what I had decided to keep. Since then, I've been making more music. Having a few pieces makes it easier for me to pick something up and start jamming, than dreading on the thought of turning everything on and creating on 4 to 5 devices at a time. So I bet you're probably asking, so Jade, does this mean that you're no longer gonna do synthesizer reviews and your awesome tutorials? Of course not. I love teaching and exploring new things. There's still a few pieces I need to make some videos on, but they're not part of my permanent setup, and I'll be more careful when deciding what deserves to stay from now on. A lot of times it's easy to get lost on the details and forget what it is that we like to do, which is make music. With so much gear around us, it's very difficult to concentrate when something is being released every 5 minutes. But if you feel like you're cluttered and your creative output is suffering, definitely consider downsizing. I can't express to you how big of a difference it's made in my life, not only in my studio, but in other areas of my life. I feel some people are very attached to their synthesizers and material things in general. I'm not one to get attached to material things that much. I learned that at a very young age, so it wasn't hard for me to do something like this. But you might really want to sit down and think about it. Like, what is it that you actually need in your setup that's gonna push your output to the fullest? That's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to give it that thumbs up and subscribe. I'll catch you later.